Nero was one of the most infamous emperors of Rome. The stories of his brutality are absolutely legendary, and it's for this reason why he's got to be in my top 10.
Emperor of Rome from the age of just 17, from 54 to 68 AD. Famous for fiddling while Rome burned. He wandered the streets, murdering at random, because he could.
When we look at the horrific acts attributed to Nero, it looks like he's reading right out of the playbook of Caligula.
It's said that Nero was envious of the extravagance of his uncle Caligula. He may even have been trying to emulate him. When Nero came to power, his mother had planned to rule jointly with him, but he had other ideas. He built a ship for her to travel in and designed it so that as she slept, the roof would collapse, killing her, but it would look like an accident. She survived this attempt on her life, but Nero wasn't giving up.
He sends a guard to go and attack her in her own bedroom, and the guard bludgeons and stabs her to death.
Nero's first wife met a similar end.
After he's had her exiled and put to death, he has her head delivered to his new wife.
And her luck was no better.
She's pregnant with child, and she dares to complain that he's spending too much time at the games. He kicks his pregnant wife to death.
He then tried something new. He had taken a shine to a young man, so he had him castrated and made him his new wife.
He could do that. He was, in the history books of Rome, a total tyrant and a horrible monster.
There are even stories that he'd dress up in animal skins, have young men and women tethered to posts, and then ravage them, roaring like a beast, even biting off their genitals.
A fire during Nero's reign caused devastation on a scale Rome had never seen before. Half of the city burnt to the ground, in true dictator fashion. As the fire was still smoldering, Nero laid claim to vast areas of land in order to build an extravagant palace for himself. This brought accusations that Nero had deliberately started the blaze, so he created a scapegoat. He rounded up Christians and had them publicly executed.
Nero was incredibly brutal. One of the most famous stories about him is how he used to light Christians on fire and use them as torches for his dinner parties.
No one was safe from him. Nero had his own senators whipped, branded with irons, and tortured. If he liked a woman, he had her husband murdered. His brutality was endless. On top of this, his extravagant spending nearly bankrupted Rome's treasury.
Towards the end of Nero's life, his excesses became quite extraordinary. When his wife died, he bought what would be the equivalent of $500 million worth of frankincense. Rome at this point was on its knees financially. It was crippled by debt. And I think that, combined with his depravity, meant that the people of Rome had just had enough. The Senate voted Nero an enemy of the state, and he was encouraged to commit suicide.
Nero left behind him a legacy of murder, debauchery, and Christian persecution. It made him yet another ruler the Senate wanted to wipe from their records. This time, they actually passed a law saying that Nero never existed. From Nero to zero.
This man was so extreme, he was so sick, he was so perverse that he has never been forgotten by history, and we're still talking about him.